Hello children, I hope you are all happy and safe. Welcome to this special English hour. Here, every day, we will sing, dance, listen to stories and have lots of fun together. Are you ready to have fun? Then come, join me in a dance. बच्चों, टीवी के जरा नजदीक आ जाइए और मेरे साथ एक डांस में जुड़ जाइए.
All these animals in the zoo, all day long, what do? Walk, talk, study, no, they dance. All these animals in the zoo, how do you think do the snakes dance? They wiggle. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle and wiggle. All these animals in the zoo, how do you dance? They waddle. Waddle, waddle, waddle and waddle. All these animals in the zoo, how do you think do the elephants dance? They sway. Sway, sway, sway and sway.
Children, I hope you all enjoyed the dance we just did. Now, let me ask you a few questions and let us share our thoughts and ideas. So tell me, what are the types of letters that we write? We write letters to our friends and relatives. These are friendly letters. But then there are also letters that we need to write to bigger organizations, to maybe our school, to the government. These all letters are formal letters. We need to write formal letters to our school, to the government, or to other organizations. Do you know how to write a formal letter? Then come, let's learn today how to write a formal letter. आइए बच्चों, आज हम सीखेंगे कि एक formal letter कैसे लिखते हैं. Children, words are very important while learning a language. Today, I will show you a few new words. You will find these words in the lesson that we are to read. So I would request you all to please note them down in your notebook. बच्चों, शब्द सीखना, new words सीखना किसी भी भाषा के लिए बहुत जरूरी है. मैं आपसे रिक्वेस्ट करती हूँ कि अब मैं जो वर्ड्स बोलने वाली हूँ, प्लीज उसे अपनी नोटबुक में नोट करें और जब हम लेसन पढ़ रहे हैं आपको यही शब्द लेसन में भी मिलेंगे. उनका मतलब हम तब समझने की कोशिश करेंगे. We will try to understand the meaning of the new words while reading them in our lesson. Okay? Now come, let's begin with the first word. Distribute. 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 Next word. Eager. 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 Third word. Polite. 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 Fourth word. Receiver. 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 Fifth word. Appropriately. 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 Children, so the 5 new words we learnt today are distribute, eager, receiver, polite, appropriately. I hope you have noted them down in your notebook, and we will come across these words in the lesson as we read. Try to guess their meaning then. Children, we have spoken a lot about using polite words in our conversation. Come, let us read a lesson that talks about the same. Please open page number 35 of your textbooks. We will read the lesson, No Formalities, Please. If you have a textbook, please point to the words as I read. And if you don't have a textbook, please listen to me carefully. Come children, let's read this lesson now. बच्चों, आज हमने polite words इस्तेमाल करने के बारे में काफी बातचीत करी। आइए अब हम एक लेसन पढ़ते हैं, नो फॉर्मेलिटीज प्लीज। अगर आपके पास टेक्स्ट बुक है तो कुछ इस तरीके से अपनी उंगली शब्दों पर रखें जब मैं पढ़ रही हूं। अगर आपके पास टेक्स्ट बुक नहीं है तो प्लीज मुझे गौर से सुने। नो फॉर्मेलिटीज प्लीज। Part 1. The students of class 4 greeted their teacher, Mrs. Desai, before they sat down. It was time for their English lesson. Shall we bring out our Bal Bharti textbook, teacher? Asked Shruti. Not now, said the teacher. We are going to learn letter writing today. Some special types of letters. Come here, Javed and Nisha. Please distribute these notebooks. Which class do the students belong to? The students belong to class 4. Who is their class teacher? Their class teacher is Mrs. Desai. What is Mrs. Desai going to teach the children today? Mrs. Desai is going to teach the children letter writing. Mrs. Desai calls Javed and Nisha and asks them to distribute the notebooks to all the children. आज की कहानी है चौथी क्लास के बच्चों की, फोर्थ क्लास के बच्चों की, जो मिसेस देसाई के क्लास के बच्चे हैं। मिसेस देसाई आज बच्चों को लेटर राइटिंग, पत्र लिखना सिखाने वाली है। And while they give out the books, continued Mrs. Desai, let me give you some good news. The students were all ears now. Their teacher announced with a smile. New arrivals in the library, and plenty of them. Story books of every kind, informative books with lovely pictures, books of puzzles, jokes. All have been displayed in the library, so you will know which ones to ask for the next time you are in the library. What is the good news Mrs. Desai gave to all the children? Mrs. Desai told all the children that their library had fresh arrivals. There were new books in the library. There were story books, informative books, and puzzles. They were all displayed played in the library and the children could go and issue them in their next library class. The children were all ears when their teacher was sharing the good news. Being all ears means listening attentively. मिसेस देसाई ने सभी बच्चों को बताया कि उनकी लाइब्रेरी में, पुस्तकालय में कई सारी नई किताबें आई थी। बच्चे इस बात को सुनकर बहुत खुश हो गए। Ooh, lovely! I can hardly wait, were some of the eager responses to this piece of news. All were excited except one. What's the use? Complained Felix. We have only one library period in a week and hardly for half an hour too. Just when the story gets interesting, we have to leave the book and go back to class. Mrs. Desai shared the good news with the children, and the children responded with excitement. Oh, lovely! I can hardly wait, were some of the eager responses from the children. Eager means waiting anxiously for something good. One of the students did not look very excited. Who was this student? This was Felix. Felix was not very excited with this news because he said that in a week they only had one library class, and that one library class lasted only for 30 minutes. In those 30 minutes, it was not possible to read the different books that they liked reading, or to even read one book properly. That's why Felix was not very happy, as even though there were many books that came to the library, the children did not have enough time to read them. मिसेस देसाई ने जब बच्चों को ये खुशखबरी सुनाई, तब सारे बच्चे बहुत खुश थे जानकर कि लाइब्रेरी में और नई किताबें आई हैं। एक बच्चा खुश नहीं था, क्योंकि उसका कहना था कि पूरे हफ्ते में उन्हें लाइब्रेरी की क्लास सिर्फ एक मिलती है, वो भी आधे घंटे की। उस आधे घंटे में बच्चों को किताब तलाशने का और एक किताब सही से पढ़ने का समय नहीं मिल पाता। Now, Varsha joined in to say, For 2 weeks, I've been waiting to know what happened to the Pied Piper of Hamelin. There was a holiday last Thursday, and we missed the library period. Mrs. Desai realized that what her students said was perfectly true. She decided to request the principal to allow a home issue facility for class 4. After all, they were big enough to look after the books they took home. What did Varsha have to say? Varsha said that for the past 2 weeks, she had not been able to read the book Pied Piper of Hamelin. This was because their library class was on a Thursday, and in the previous week, there was a holiday on Thursday. So, Varsha had not been able to read her book for the past 2 weeks. What did Mrs. Desai think after listening to Felix and Varsha? Mrs. Desai understood that the problem was that even if there were lots of books in the library, the children needed the books for more time with them. So she decided to request the principal to allow the children of class 4 to issue the books and take it home. This way they would have more time to read. Mrs. देसाई ने बच्चों की बातें सुनकर अपना मन बना लिया था कि वो प्रिंसिपल से बात करेंगी और बच्चे किताबें घर ले जा सके इसकी अनुमति परमिशन मांगेंगी. Hey, wait, thought Mrs. Desai. There's a better way to do it. Why not let the students themselves write a letter of request to the principal? After all, that was what she had planned to teach that day. How to write polite, formal letters. What an opportunity! A good subject for a formal letter. And of course, a real situation would make the learning more effective and interesting. Mrs. Desai had a wonderful idea. She thought, as she was going to teach children that day how to write a polite and formal letter, the children themselves could write a letter to the principal requesting her to allow them to issue books from the library and take them home and read. Mrs. Desai को एक बेहतरीन आइडिया आया. उन्होंने सोचा कि वो लेटर राइटिंग बच्चों को जब सिखा ही रही थी तो क्यों नहीं बच्चे खुद ही प्रिंसिपल को इस बारे में लेटर लिखें. When Mrs. Desai suggested this to her class, they were very excited. Without losing much time, Mrs. Desai began to teach her class how to write a formal letter. The sender's address and the date should be written in the upper right corner of the page, she taught. The next step is to write the name or post of the receiver near the left margin. Then write his or her address below that. Mrs. Desai immediately starts teaching the children how to write the formal letter. She tells them where the receiver's address needs to be written. Then she tells them where the sender's address needs to be written. Come, let us read further, understand the entire format of the letter. After that, we'll revise it once again. बच्चों, मिसेस देसाई ने अपनी क्लास के सभी बच्चों को लेटर कैसे लिखते हैं वो सिखाना तुरंत ही शुरू कर दिया. आइए उसे समझते हैं. And after that, you must write the subject of the letter in short below the receiver's address. She further instructed. That's something new, remarked Sharon. We do not mention a subject in our friendly letters, do we? Of course not, said Mrs. Desai. What do we do next, teacher? Shruti wanted to know. You address the receiver writing, Dear Sir or Dear Madam. Remember, the rest of the letter also should be written in polite language. Write to the point, Mrs. Desai explained. Mrs. Desai explains to the children how to write a formal letter. In a formal letter, on the top right corner, we write the sender's address. Next, on the left corner, we write the receiver's address. Below that, we write the subject line. Subject line informs the reader of the purpose of the letter. We don't use a subject line while writing a friendly letter or an informal letter. But in a formal letter, we must write a subject line. Then, after the subject line, we begin by writing Dear Sir or Dear Madam to address the receiver of the letter. Mrs. Desai बच्चों को फॉर्मल लेटर लिखना सिखाते हैं. हम भी एक बार फिर से फॉर्मल लेटर कैसे लिखते हैं आगे देखेंगे. And should we end it with yours lovingly? Asked Renu. Oh no, said teacher. You can write that to your friends or parents or even to me. But when you are writing as a student to the principal, you may write yours faithfully or sincerely. Do not forget to thank the receiver appropriately before you close the letter. Come on now, let's draft this letter together. After quite a few errors, cancellations and changes, here's the letter Class 4 wrote to their principal. It was written very neatly. How do we end the formal letter? Do we end by writing yours lovingly? No, we write yours lovingly in friendly letters, in informal letters that we write to our friends, relatives or parents. But when we write to someone a formal letter, we must end with yours sincerely or yours faithfully. All the children got together and with the help of Mrs. Desai wrote a neat formal letter to their principal. Children, let's have a look at the format of a formal letter. On the top right corner, we have the sender's address, the one who is writing the letter. On the left side, below it, we write the receiver's address, the one who is going to read the letter, the person we are writing to. The next line is the subject line. Here we write the purpose of the letter. We address our reader with polite words. We write Dear Madam for a lady and Dear Sir for a male person. We begin by writing the context or the matter at hand. Then we state the problem and then we make a request. We end the letter writing yours faithfully or yours sincerely. This is the format of a formal letter. Children, anytime if you have to write a letter to your teacher, your principal, or to any other person for a formal purpose, you can make sure to use this format. Children, till we meet next time, please take care. Bye-bye and stay safe.